A look at preparations across the country in anticipation of a former president's arrest.
Local art is challenging legal boundaries.
And how travelers are affecting spring break relaxation. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining ntTV News at Noon. I'm Soren Dorado.
And I'm Mark Barrera.
The shooting outside of Lamar High School left one student dead and another injured. The shooting occurred at 6:55 a.m., around 40 minutes before many students were arriving back to school for their first day after spring break. The boy was taken to the hospital where he later succumbed to his injuries, and the other student, who suffered a graze to the cheek by a bullet, was treated. Both students were under 17, and the suspect was a 17-year-old boy who also attended Lamar. The suspect was taken into custody shortly after officers arrived on the scene. The motive has not yet been identified, and it's uncertain whether he will be charged as a minor or an adult in court for this charge of capital murder. Arlington ISD will remain closed until Wednesday, and more counselors will be added for any students or staff that may need the extra support during this time.
Last week, the Manhattan District Attorney announced that former President Trump may be arrested today for an alleged role in $130,000 hush money payment to an adult film actress to silence her claims of an affair. Republican Senator McCarthy voiced his own concerns about the potential arrest earlier this week.
I do get concerned when I look out there and I see justice not being equal to others, especially in the history of where we are. And the tough part is with a local DA playing in presidential politics. If that starts right there, don't you think it'll happen across the country?
In anticipation for potential protests, the U.S. Capitol has deployed rack fencing and bulk security. While no specific threats have been tracked against the Capitol, state officers say a riot is to be expected. A tweet by Denton's police department, there was a rise in DWIs over the weekend. Let's pass it over to our Carla Castillo out in City Hall for more information for what may be causing this sudden surge.
The Denton Police Department is located at. This past weekend, the Denton Police Department made multiple arrests in connection to drunk driving, which led to multiple DWIs. This past weekend, Denton police officers made 10 arrests Friday night into Saturday morning. This includes the 300 block of Oak Street, where a 45-year-old man failed to yield to oncoming traffic. When he was pulled over, his eyes were red and watery. Only 2 minutes away from Oak Street on the 800 block of South Locust Street, a 25-year-old was jailed due to suspicion for a DWI for failing to tell officers how many drinks he had before getting behind the wheel. Denton PD advises that if you plan on drinking, to drink safely, get a designated driver or order an Uber. Remember, if you're gonna be drinking and you're gonna get behind the wheel, you're putting not only your life at risk, but other people's on the road. Drink safely to get home safely. But this is all I have for you guys. I'll go back to you at the studio.
Thanks, Carla. Definitely not the way we wanted to end our break.
Yeah, but while we wait for updates, let's pass it over to today's weather with Brandon Brown.
Thanks, guys. Today, we're looking at a temperature of 59 degrees, but it's actually going to feel just slightly warmer at 60 degrees. Now beware, we are going to have intense wind speeds of 17 miles per hour, so it might not be a bad idea to break out that windbreaker. And we're going to have cloudy conditions today. Moving on to tonight's forecast, it's going to warm up quite a bit with a 67-degree temperature, and it's going to feel like 64. However, with 25-mile-hour wind speeds, if you're going to go out, it might not be a bad idea to break out a sweatshirt or three. And we're going to continue with cloudy conditions. Moving on to tomorrow's forecast, it's going to warm up quite a bit actually with an 80-degree temperature, and it's going to feel like 82 degrees. And we're going to keep on with those intense wind speeds, 18 miles per hour, and continue with those cloudy conditions. That's all I have for now. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Brandon. While most people are worried about allergies when the seasons change, there are other illnesses starting to concern healthcare professionals. CNN's Mandy Gaither has the details.
The risk to humans remains low, but the latest outbreak of bird flu has killed a record number of poultry.
Which is raising the red flag or causing some alarm among researchers, public health, and clinical investigators about the possibility of seeing more cases in humans.
There have been more than 6,300 known cases of bird flu in all 50 states, according to the CDC, but there are probably many more unknown. In 47 states, there have been multiple outbreaks among poultry involving more than 58.5 million birds. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says it's also shown up in some non-commercial backyard flocks as well.
As the virus infects more birds, it may mutate.
Matthew Binnicker, director of clinical virology at Mayo Clinic, says another concern about this strain is that it appears to not only infect birds, but also some mammals in the U.S.,
including seals, mink, fox, bears, being identified to be infected with this strain.
Binnicker says the virus spreads only through direct contact with an infected animal. To prevent exposure, stay away from dead birds.
If you see a bird that has died on your grounds, in your property, don't go up and handle the bird, because what we're seeing is that in the few cases of avian influenza among humans, that has been the route.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. Health and Human Services Department has created a brand new office called the Office of Family Violence Prevention and Service. This new addition is specifically meant to help victims of domestic violence. The new office will offer prevention programs, survivor services, and just help the family that was affected as a whole. And officials say it will be funded by the American Rescue Plan.
After the break, we'll look at consumer news that could impact you.
And what the government is doing to face spam messaging, more when we return.
Did you know you have access to video equipment like DVDs, video games, and cameras? That's right, you do. Come on down to Chilton Library and fulfill your media dream. Located on the bottom floor next to the student sculpture. Hope to see you there soon.
Hey girl, you know you look good. I like the way you move and groove. I'm not sure.
Can I see your voter registration, please? All right, you're good. No registration, no entry. All right. Let me see your voter registration card, please.
I'm not registered to vote.
No registration, no entry.
Dude, my friends are already in there.
No registration, no entry.
What the?
Join the club. Register to vote today.
Even though North Texas spring breaks have finished, other districts across the country are just now starting theirs. Spring break is a popular time to travel, but you'll need to pack a little extra cash and your patience if you plan on traveling this season. Spring break 2023 is reportedly the busiest time for airlines yet. Here's travel expert Shelly Malashi with what to expect and how you can still save.
Spring is here, and the airline industry has been bracing for what it says will be the busiest travel season ever. According to a new forecast from Trade Group, Airlines for America, 10 major airlines, including Delta, Southwest, and JetBlue, are expected to carry a record number of passengers this season.
We can pretty well expect that those predictions to come true, and the reason why is that for each of the 2 months so far in 2023, you have seen travel numbers exceed the same month in 2019.
So what does this mean for you? Travel expert Scott Keyes says expect more of what's become the usual: longer lines at airports and packed popular destinations. Meanwhile, AAA's spring travel survey suggests many families are taking multi-generational vacations.
Families are making up for lost time. Grandparents traveling with their adult children and their grandkids.
Experts say spring is seen as a critical test for the airline industry, which is still working to recover and return to pre-pandemic capacity levels despite robust demand.
I think you're seeing a renormalization of travel in 2023, both for spring break and beyond.
If you still haven't booked, here's one tip to find a spring break deal. Consider arbitrage. If you live near a city that has a different spring break schedule, consider booking flights from there instead.
With different academic calendars, you're going to see a different spring break week and substantially cheaper fares out of those cities.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Shelley Malashi.
Did you know yesterday was actually the first day of spring?
Well, it didn't feel like it with how cold and windy it was yesterday.
Yeah, Texas has been pretty unpredictable as of late, but let's hand it back over to Brandon for a look at this week's forecast.
Thanks, y'all. Taking a look again at Denton, it's going to remain 59 degrees, kind of a median temperature in this area of North Texas. If we're moving over a little bit east to all my folks who are traveling from or remaining in McKinney, it's going to be pretty similar at 57 degrees. But what's interesting is if you're looking to get away from these cold temperatures today, you might want to plan a visit to Graham, Texas at 69 degrees. It's the warmest area in this area of North Texas. Zooming out to our regional map, if you want to go a little bit warmer, try planning a visit to Austin, Texas at 67 degrees. It's a bit warmer than most areas in North Texas, or even Houston, Texas at 69 degrees. It's one of the warmest areas right now, and you can expect some humidity there. But let's take a look at the opposite direction. If you're going north at all, 56 degrees, Oklahoma City. You can expect that area to be pretty cool, maybe similar or a little bit cooler than North Texas right now. Moving on to our 7-day forecast. If you look at Thursday and Friday, we actually have a 70 to 80% chance of rain respectively, so it might not be a bad idea to break out that old raincoat. And you can expect the heat wave that's expected to occur on Wednesday continue on until Saturday, where it's going to cool down a bit. And it's actually going to be a completely clear sky, so it should be a fairly nice day on Saturday. And by Sunday, Monday, you're going to expect to see mostly clear skies, maybe a little bit of clouds, and it's going to cool off and kind of be like those last few days we've had here at North Texas, back to those cooler, windy days. Back to the desk, that's all I have.
Thank you, Brandon. Online retailer Amazon seems to begin more of their employee layoffs. Amazon CEO Jassy told his employees Monday that around 9,000 jobs would be cut. These layoffs will begin sometime in the next few weeks. Any employee could be affected. These jobs join the other 18,000 that were cut earlier this year.
Instead of rent decreasing, apartment sizes are shrinking. According to a report by rentcafe.com, the average size for an apartment is 900 square feet, which is 50 square feet less than 10 years ago. The reason behind the shrinking is an apartment size is being attributed to construction material shortage, and more people are looking for studios and one-bedroom apartments.
Popular shoe store Foot Locker announced on Monday that it will be closing about 400 stores by 2026. The reason for the downsizing is because Foot Locker wants to re-image its brand to appeal to a more youthful audience, in particular, sneakerheads. Foot Locker said that one of their main focuses will be on shoppers who wear sneakers for fashion, people who wear them for athletic purposes, and people who wear sneakers for comfort and quality.
Dollar Tree, the store where everything is $1.25, can no longer afford to sell eggs. With the rise of the price of eggs, it has become expensive for Dollar Tree to continue selling them. The company used to sell 8 or 6 eggs. Supply and demand have made eggs more expensive. Dollar Tree says they will bring the eggs back once the price goes down. And the rise of spam, the government talking new steps to help protect consumers. Let's take a look at what Mike Valero suggests to stop these messages.
The Federal Communications Commission voting unanimously to adopt new rules to keep scam texts off your phone. Phone providers must block text messages from phone numbers that appear to be invalid, unallocated, or unused. The FCC also saying carriers will be required to block messages from phone numbers that claim to never send text messages and numbers that the government has identified as not used for texting.
This isn't going to be like an instant fix. It really takes time to make progress.
This move mirrors the government effort made to shut down illegal robocalls. Now, a major increase in spam and text messages seems to have taken robocalls' place.
But it's really difficult to enforce it effectively and to get everybody on the same page because of technical challenges, but also because you don't want to be stopping legitimate communications.
Authorities say scam robo-texts may be even more dangerous than robocalls because the texts may contain malicious links to software that could infect your phone. FCC Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel saying, quote, scam artists have found that sending us messages about a package you never ordered or a payment that never went through, along with a link to a shady website, is a quick and easy way to get us to engage on our devices and fall prey to fraud.
It's not your fault if you fall for a scam. That's the whole point. That's what they're trying to achieve.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
In a few minutes, we'll tell you about an event happening now here on campus.
But we'll first look at some newsmaking and newsmaking a splash in Hollywood. We'll be right back.
Has the weight of stress and anxiety ever felt too heavy to overcome? Wish there was a safe place to confide in? Wish granted. At UNT, we offer counseling and testing services to students located on the 3rd floor of Chestnut Hall. UNT, we're here for you.
We have to watch the next one before next class, right? We do? I think so, but it's not on Netflix and it's not on Hulu, so... Man, I don't want to pay for that. So what do we do?
You think there's a place we could go to get the movie?
I'm not sure, maybe?
Oh, there's a place to get the movie.
Oh?
Really?
Yeah, it's right here on campus. Come on, I'll show you.
So a man's been walking in the desert for days at a time. He finally comes across a bar and orders a Coke.
That's not funny.
Today, Marvel's production crew lost a key member. Let's look at the details of this and other movie news with CNN's David Daniel.
I would like to have the Black Panther of every single diverse group that watches our films.
Marvel Studios reportedly has lost a veteran executive and a major voice for representation. Victoria Alonso had been with Marvel since the start of the MCU and was an executive producer on every Marvel movie and series since 2012's The Avengers. Most recently, Alonso was Marvel's president for physical and post-production, visual effects, and animation production. No word on the reasons for her departure.
I almost never became a director.
But he did. Oscar winner Jordan Peele has made Get Out, Us, and Nope, and now he's looking ahead. Universal, which released his first 3 films, has slated untitled 4th film directed by Jordan Peele for December 25th, 2024.
I talked to Kat. She lives there now.
Of course, Kat, actress, your famous college roommate.
A joyride for joy. Here's a look at the raucous comedy Joyride, starring Oscar nominee Stephanie Hsu, who played Joy in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She's part of a quartet of Asian American friends on an eventful cross-country trip across China. The directorial debut of Crazy Rich Asians co-writer Adele Lim hits theaters July 7th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, while we are on the topic of film and the arts, there is more going on in the local art scene in Denton.
That's true, but some people are not using the correct legal channels to do so. Carmen, what do you have for us today?
The city of Denton is having... The city of Denton is having a problem with people going outside the regulations required for the healthy community. Apparently, graffiti has become a serious issue. ntTV's Little Kosh has more on the situation.
Cadillac Ranch, Austin Graffiti Park, and Denton's very own Nook on Fry Street have one thing in common. They were made for people to feel free and express their creativity through art. But what happens when people decide to color outside of the lines? With applying graffiti being a crime in Denton County, local bookstore Vertman's Nook is a rare exception.
We make all the kits for CVAD students, and we thought it'd be cool to have a place to express that.
Even though the Nook was created as a safe space for everyone to enjoy, its limits have been pushed and taken advantage of.
We put the sign up with the rules. Obviously, some of the rules are not to paint outside the Nook. We've got a big building, and we've got a few other properties around the building, and in the past we've dealt with people tagging those without our permission.
And Vertman's isn't the only location where people go to illegally graffiti. You can find many examples of this around town on businesses, bridges, and by the railways. And while some may see graffiti as a great way for people to express themselves, the City of Denton management analyst Omar Siddiqui asks for artists to steer clear of defacing these city structures because of the serious negative impact it can have on the community.
I don't want to discourage young artists from, exploring their development as artists. I would just encourage them not to do that on our buildings and facilities.
To combat the issue, the city created #DentonCleanup, a system that helps business and property owners easily report graffiti to the city that will then take care of the situation.
I will say the city is very responsive to come out and get those cleaned up. A lot of times we will call a phone number and then the next 48 hours they'll come up and paint over it.
The city is here to try and facilitate what we can in terms of public art and art programs with our Parks Department and our recreational centers.
Denton residents are highly encouraged to report illegal graffiti in order to keep Denton clean. For ntTV, I'm Lillian Kosh.
Effective. We should see any changes by the city of Denton the next few months. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Carmen. If you are looking for a fun activity to do later, UNT UPC is having an event to create a clay mushroom jar.
This is an instructor-led event, and it's also free, so feel free to stop by with your friends.
And it's happening now until 2 p.m. on the Union South Lawn. So Soren, with spring in the air, have you been seeing the way our own UNT basketball team has been blossoming lately?
Of course, the energy the team brings is amazing, and I'm sure our sports expert, Gabby Pippins, can tell us more about it.
Yeah, our basketball team has been on a huge roll lately. We'll be discussing their offseason along with how the Mavs are doing without Luka and a new change to NHL jerseys right after this.
what does Talents do?
So I am the Vice President of External Relations for Talents. That means that I basically oversee all the external committees. Our external committees entail our Model A, it's a Mean Green machine. So they bring it to football games especially, so every game it's kind of there, every home game. The Model A is like a symbol of UNC pride, and it's a big tradition that we are so lucky to uphold and maintain. When people look at it, they see it, and they're like, oh, that's the Mean Green machine. There must be a game today or something to ramp up school spirit for basketball, softball, volleyball, any of those things. We have amazing teams, so we just want to show school spirit for them. Bonfire Committee, which is in charge of putting together the bonfire every year for homecoming. It's kind of just a whole semester-long process up until Build Week that we have to put together and oversee and make sure safety regulations are followed and risk management is taken care of. Cannon Crew, which oversees and takes care of the cannon. They fire it at games, they take it to special occasions.
Can I see your voter registration, please? All right, you're good. No registration, no entry. All right. Let me see your voter registration card, please.
I'm not registered to vote.
No registration, no entry.
Dude, my friends are already in there.
No registration, no entry.
What the?
Join the club. Register to vote today.
I'm here to rescue you.
Oh, my friends.
No so fast.
This story's going to be awesome.
Our UNT Mean Green basketball team is headed off to an amazing start in their offseason as they remain second in Conference USA. They played Louisiana Tech first, and Aaron Scott led UNT to win 46-74, scoring 19 points and 6 rebounds. However, it was a different story during the semifinals when they faced UAB. Although most of our starting five scored double digits, it wasn't enough to stop Jordan Walker for UAB, who led them to win 69-76. Fortunately, UNT experienced a quick turnaround in the NIT tourney. They won against Alcorn State and Sam Houston, with Tyler Perry paving the way for both games, scoring a combined total of 44 points. Wow. Let's continue to cheer on our UNT Mean Green tonight as they play Oklahoma State in the quarterfinals. The Dallas Mavericks currently sit at number 7 in the Western Conference, just one place short of a guaranteed off-season. And they hold a tied record of 36-36 after losing their game last night against the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant is still out on an 8-game suspension, and Luka Doncic remained out last night with a thigh injury. So this was Kyrie's moment to take over for the Mavs. He did score 28 points and 4 rebounds, and Christian Wood outplayed that 6-man role with 20 points of his own, and Dallas ended the first half with a slight lead. But Jaren Jackson Jr. had a superstar performance for Memphis, and they regained the lead to win 108-112. Guys, let's hope Luka's injury heals quickly so he can help Dallas tomorrow night when they play Stephen Curry and the Warriors. And finally, the National Hockey League is changing their official uniform partner from Adidas to Fanatics, and this change is expected to occur with the start of the 2024-2025 season. This will be the first time Fanatics is sported on official player uniforms for a professional sports team, and the deal is set to last for a decade. The change originated after Adidas did not pursue an extension for its 7-year deal, and it provided a natural extension of the brand into the league, as Fanatics have been their retail partner for almost 2 decades. With this new partnership, all of their on-ice jerseys will undergo modifications beginning in 2024, with major changes such as player protection against skate lacerations occurring in 2026. That's all I have for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Gabby, and thanks for watching ntTV News at noon.
Join us again tonight at 6 and tomorrow at noon here on North Texas Television.